Chapter 2, the Health and Safety Management System, Subchapter 2.4, Terms and Definitions. This chapter of the course is about the third clause of the standard. The basic concept in this lesson is that ISO standards have a specific terminology. We'll see just a few of these terms because it's better to learn these terms through the whole course instead of just giving a lot of definitions at the beginning. So, as we said, the third lesson is about the context of the third clause. And the third clause is pretty simple. It presents us a list of terms and definitions. In order to pursue clarity and uniformity, all ISO standards dedicate a specific chapter to define their dictionary. Some of them may seem way familiar, but for most of them, some level of deepening is needed, since they may have one meaning in the English language, which isn't the same of the meaning they have in the world of international standards. Going through all of them would not be very useful, because the meaning of most of them will be explained through the course. Let's just take some time to talk about some of them. There is one term in this clause that has a central role in this standard: worker. We'll start from this definition. The worker is defined as a person performing work or work-related activities regularly or temporarily under the direct or indirect control of the organization. This means everyone that is working in the company can be considered a worker. This is an essential detail. Let's discuss this topic. Is an employee of your company a worker? Yes, he is, of course. This was easy. Are interns workers? Well, technically an intern isn't an employee, but since he works under the direct or indirect control of the organization, he can be considered a worker too, for the 45001 standard. Another question: are the workers of your providers to be considered by your system? This depends. Employees of other companies that work inside your companies are to be considered. Just think of the employees of the cleaning companies. Their health and safety depends heavily on the conditions provided by your organization. If you make them work in unsafe situations, they will likely get hurt. And what about your clients' workers? No, they are not under control of your organization. Hence, your 45001 system doesn't have to consider them. By exploring the definition of worker, we may start to get that one of the main concepts of the 45001 standard is that occupational health and safety is something that has to be granted to anyone. A company where only the health and safety of its employees are taken into consideration is not compliant with the principles of the standard. Some other definitions are way more simple, and their definition may seem pretty obvious. For example, let's see organization. Organization is defined as person or group of people that has its own functions with responsibilities, authorities, and relationships to achieve its objectives. This definition is broad too. It was made to include not just factories, but also companies that provide services. Okay, with this module, we just ended our second chapter. Now you should be familiar with the concepts of managing systems, and you should start to have a more practical idea of what is needed in order to be 45001 certified. As you may see in this slide, we are now going through a plateau made of Chapter 2 and 3, which deal with general principles of this norm. We decided to represent it with a brief plateau because their contents are pretty close and they typically do not require much effort. We just have to proceed gradually. Thanks for following the course so far. If you need some help or you have any question on these topics, please send us an email at occam@occam-consult.com. As soon as you finish the following test, see you on Chapter 3, the PDCA cycle.